It's Shootin the Bull, a podcast by Idaho Department of Fish and Game.
No.
Jason Voorhees from, which one is it? I don't know. Friday the 13th? I don't even know. I don't know any. I didn't watch it yet.
Oh, like Jason, like the killer?
Yeah.
Oh.
His last name was Voorhees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I married into that.
Yeah.
Good one.
Is that your ex-husband?
He's my current husband, and maybe he shouldn't have rolled me into the serial killer road.
Well, here we are shooting the bull in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho once again. Thanks a lot, TJ, for setting this all up.
Happy to do it.
I'm here with Ben Bieri. We just spent, 7 hours driving up here from Boise?
This is a great drive.
Yeah.
That
learned
spring
a lot.
drive up here is wonderful.
Yep. But the real reason we're here not to see TJ is to talk about the new Osburn Wildlife Overpass. And who better to talk about it than Laura Wolf here from our Idaho Fish and Game Panhandle Regional Office. Wayne, I didn't get your last name.
Wayne Brood.
Wayne Brood.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Rain, and you're from RMEF, right?
Yeah, kind of a hybrid. I was a volunteer for many years, and then I was a regional director for about 6 years. But I retired about 2 years ago. The present regional director, she couldn't be here today, but since I'd been working along with this project all along, she asked me to fill in for her.
Right on. Are you nervous about doing a podcast?
Of course.
Me too. Yeah. Laura, what do you do at Fish and Game?
I'm a regional wildlife biologist, so I do both population monitoring and habitat management. So sometimes I work with Forest Service on designing projects, and sometimes I get to work on wildlife crossing projects.
And having the last name Wolf was a prerequisite?
Yeah.
Or just serendipity?
I just married into the right.
How many other, I was thinking about this when I saw how many other animal names do we have in Fish and Game? There's not a lot.
We've got Andy Ducks
Ducks.
But he does
here in the
fish.
Panhandle.
I actually do work with wolves sometimes,
Yeah.
so it's very appropriate.
Yours is very on point.
Also here is Kristen Voorhees. That's Voorhees.
Voorhees.
That's
Damn
right.
it.
Second time you got it right.
Yeah. I even took notes. Kirsten, what do you do?
By trade, I'm a civil engineer. Most of what I do with my days is animal corridors, really, and fish passage. Every once in a while, I get a slew of signature structures into developments, large, subdivisions and that stuff that pays the bills. But mostly what I do is wildlife conveyance.
And you live in Osburn, right?
I do. I live a stone's throw from this bridge to nowhere, and I'm a fourth generation Valley girl, so that thing's been there all my life and beyond.
Yeah. Grew up in a mining family?
At some point in time, my father did mine. Various people in my family have mined, but he was if you ask him, he was a grease monkey, but he was the transportation supervisor for the school district there and a coach.
Very cool.
I don't think I realized that you did mostly wildlife corridors. Like, I knew you were associated with the Osburn Overpass, but outside of that, I don't think I realized that.
It didn't start out that way. It has just, my career has kind of made its way into that direction because that's what's going on right now, ever since the legislation in the early 2000s, they started to implement these things more and more. They started to include funding for them. They started to be more proactive than retroactive. And now we see a lot of that call for wildlife conveyance. I don't know that it's always altruism per se, as in much as it is to mitigate lawsuits and human death, but I don't care why. I just like doing it.
Yeah.
And also, the fish conveyance. Most of the people who drive over those things don't even know they're doing it, and I don't care either about that.
Yeah.
I just want them to be able to
Move.
Yep.
That's cool.
I didn't realize that fish were a factor in this as well. I guess we'll dive into that as we talk about this overpass project. But I just kind of assumed that it was just wildlife crossing.
This particular one is ungulates.
Okay.
But a lot of the structures that I do are aquatic organism passage.
Okay.
or salmon or steelhead. Just, or it just depends. I cover a swath of the western United States, so in any region there's something that needs to get from A to B, and is not allowed to do that.
So do you only work in the Northwest, or do you travel all across the country?
I don't travel anymore. I'm internal now, thank goodness. I cover like 9 states for my company, but the work I did here was just private, pro bono citizen work.
And you could monitor it from your kitchen window.
Absolutely.
Which is super helpful, actually.
It is. And, I blasted a whitetail up east of this, about 10 miles up in the Mullen area.
With your car?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
When I was like 16. And I almost wrapped that car around a light pole. The cops that showed up said, if it would have been 10 feet to the left or whatever, I'd have wrapped it and died probably. And that happened in a split second. I remember thinking how athletic that deer looked as it just bound right in front of my car. And it did not live. Luckily I did, but it left a lasting impression, and now my daughter's driving, and my younger daughter will be soon, and there's a lot of people who pass through that corridor, and it scares the heck out of me for anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
A lot of elk have died in the last 5 years. My husband will text me on his way to school, and he'll say, "Hey, another one got hit. You want to come out and take a picture?" And I'm like, "Oh, again."
If I have to.
Yeah, got to document it. So
for those listening who don't know where Osburn is, can you get one of you kind of describe kind of not just where it is in Idaho, but kind of the geographical, kind of the formation of the valley?
I feel
where
like
it's at.
you doing that from the Fish and Game standpoint.
So Osburn is along Interstate 90, and it's about 40 miles east of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, as you're heading towards Montana, and it's in the Silver Valley, but before the road starts heading up into the mountains.
Okay. What's the pass up? Is it Lookout Pass? It's the summit up there?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's before that.
Yep.
Gotcha. And you said it's kind of, it is kind of, as the name implies, it's a valley, but it kind of funnels all the wildlife down through it, or are they going across the valley?
They're doing both, and so it's actually a narrower part of the Silver Valley where the Coeur d'Alene Mountains to the north and the St. Joe Mountains in the south kind of get a little bit closer. There's not a lot of flat valley bottom in that area, so you're more apt to have animals that might move back and forth, but also just animals like white-tailed deer and moose who like to hang out in those areas on a more like year-round basis that are just moving back and forth from hillside to hillside.
Yeah.
So when did this project start?
What do you mean by start?
I've heard rumors that it's been around for a very long time.
Well, I didn't get involved until 2020, 2021-ish, but Carl Wilson, who was a long-haul truck driver, actually, so he had seen his fair share of animal interactions. He started talking about it 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago now. And he just started to, he knew everybody. He'd been in the valley for a long time. Shoot, he knew my dad. I just didn't know him because he was older than me. And and so he'd just go around and chit chat people and talk about, how important it was to, protect the elk, and that bridge was probably a good, candidate for something like that. And he continued to lobby people to get involved, and he went place to place, business owners. He knew that, the county commissioners. He knew everybody. So he just kept talking about it. And I don't know why in 2021-ish, I don't know why it all of a sudden got more serious. I think it was because he witnessed a driver pull over when the elk were cued at that location, at that bridge location. They like to hang out in the school field, the big field behind the school, and they like to hang out on the ball field. And somebody pulled over and started taking pictures. Well, as soon as you pull over, the elk don't really pay attention to the cars whizzing by, but as soon as you pull over and you stop, they're very alert and they get spooked. And he watched them get spooked into the line of fire, and a semi picked off a couple of them. And I think at that point he got serious. He was tired of seeing that, and So he started to really talk more and more about it. And that's when I got involved, because he knew my cousin and my cousin knew what I did for a living.
And the bridge that she's mentioning is this bridge that goes from the north side to the south side of I-90, but it's a bridge that hasn't been used since it was built over 50 years ago. So it's just a bridge that sits above Interstate 90, and it just hangs out there doing nothing.
It was so it wasn't constructed for this.
Nope. It was constructed. Right. It was constructed to
Connect.
connect Osburn with the north side. But when a mining company purchased the land that was on the north side there, it kind of was a bridge to nowhere. So it blocked access for that bridge to go to any other roads.
I'm told that people actually took that bridge over to because when you live in a valley like this, there's only so much you can build right there in that proper place, and then everything else snakes up into the canyons, and that's where a lot of different neighborhoods are. They snake up into the canyons, and so that one was connecting that eastern part of Osburn to the what's now known as like the Knuckles Gulch area, and there's growth back there, and it was fully built over the I-90 right-of-way and over the South Fork of the Coeur d'Alene River. And at that point, when the mining company bought it, they actually dismantled the segment that went over the river. And they didn't want people accessing their mining property. And so it was just lopped off on the other side of the ITD right-of-way. And you just forget it's there. I mean, as a kid, the only time I really remembered it was there was when a semi would hit it, because every once in a while something was too tall and it would strike the bridge and everyone would be like, and so that's, and then after a while you just forget it's there again. And it had an approach and everything from the city of Osburn. Then they cut that in half to put drainage back in play, because they don't need it didn't need it. And so it just sat there,
And like all the infrastructure and everything was like still paved and all that.
It's pristine up there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was.
Yeah.
It was,
Well,
yeah.
it still is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. The asphalt.
it's still there.
Yeah. It's
Same lanes, different traffic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe a tree growing up through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Carl was just really well liked by everyone in the community, and he got support. By the time I got involved with the project, which was about 2021, he had support from, county commissioners and mayor and local businesses. All the neighbors of the project area that we intended to put up funnel fencing were all in support.
Landowners were like, okay.
Yeah.
They were, even the mining.
And he was like, I don't know how to make this happen, but let's just do it. Let's get it going. So he would invite all the people he thought should be there. So it was like he invited RMEF, and he invited Fish and Game, and he invited ITD, and it was
County
like
commissioners, all of the emergency services, like the fire chiefs, and regular folk who wanted to help. He invited the press, and that's how I got involved, because at the time my cousin was managing that portion of the Shoshone News Press, and so she knew Carl, and she and her husband were friends with Carl, and she told Carl that she would have me call him, because my cousin didn't just give people my number. She said, hey, this person would like to speak with you. Here's their number if you want to call them, And so she explained it to me, and she said, she kind of explained Carl, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, that sounds great. I'll give him a call. I'm not sure what I can do, but I'm willing to go talk about it, And so I gave him a call, and he said, it was like a Monday, and he was like, we have a meeting on Wednesday. And I was like, what? What? He was like, we have a meeting on Wednesday. It's at the firehouse, which is another stone's throw. It's like right across the lot from this bridge. And he said, can you come? And I said, I'll be there. Sure. So I went, and it was a room full of all the people you would need to do this thing. It was like bow tied. And I was just like,
Oh, I guess we're doing this.
like, Carl, you're making it real easy.
So I wonder what was the pitch to the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation from Carl?
When I met Carl, I was a regional director at the time for the Elk Foundation, so I'm basically a resource to the volunteer committees, and then we do the fundraising. We throw banquets and raise funds. He shows up at this volunteer recruitment meeting we had at pizza place in Kellogg. He shows up and he listened to my pitch a little bit, but he was already working on telling the story of seeing the lady stop in her car and the freaking the elk out, and he's like, I'll help you out, but if the Elk Foundation can help me get this project done. I mean, within 15 minutes of meeting Carl, I knew what his story was, and but I mean, you couldn't help but buy into it, you know. So he joined our committee, and then I was at that firehouse meeting with all those folks, and then that's when I'm just like you. That was when it became real. You know, this can happen.
What year was that?
That was 21.
21. Okay.
Yeah.
Like the winter.
Yeah. And he was. He was a natural salesman.
He very much was. He made it so easy. And
Yeah.
and when I told him, I said, "Listen, I'm in, but I'm the technical arm here. You can continue to shake hands and meet with people. That's not my jam. I do not want to do that." And he said, "But I will do all the nerdery that you need done for this project." And you know, to be sitting in that room, because I've covered Idaho for 15 of the probably 21 years with my company, and I know ITD. I know them, well. I know people who work for them, and I know that agencies, 'cause I've worked with them on a lot of different stuff. The fact that they were sitting in the room was probably the biggest hurdle.
Yeah,
was the fact
ITD was there and
they were
saying,
there. That was
this
a big
can
deal.
be done.
The fact that you could speak to a person about this with everyone else, and they could see the interest, and they could, hear the spiel and kind of be there in that room was a big deal. Because usually you're getting all these people. I expected to go to that meeting and there just to be a lot of local folk, just like, yes, we should do this. Now, how do we do this? And we went there, and it was the people who are the shot callers or can actually like help move this forward. We're sitting there, and ITD being one of the main ones. And so that was a big deal, the fact that he got them there.
So the meeting happened. All the stakeholders are there. Then I would imagine we move into fundraising at some point.
That took a lot longer.
Yeah, I think first we were kind of trying to figure out design features, like
Right.
what kind of fencing we wanted, how we wanted, like ways for animals, if they were to get between the fences, how they would get out, what we would do to the bridge. And so that entailed working with ITD quite a bit on like, what can we attach to your bridge and what modifications could we make to the bridge that would be acceptable. So a lot of overpass structures have full native, grass and trees and dirt.
It's like a park.
It's like a park. ITD did not want us to add a bunch of weight to this 50-plus-year-old bridge. And so, that was something we're like, well, we know elk are already hanging out on the asphalt regularly, so we assume that they will still be happy with crossing this bridge without adding all those really nice natural features.
Yeah, knowing ITD means that while they were more than happy to structurally analyze any changes we made to it, had we made more changes to it, we know, I know better than to do that. Like if you want this thing to move quickly through ITD, you want to keep it as simple as possible in the way that it already exists, because this structure is 50 years old. It is no longer up to, the current design standards for clearance underneath, or like FHWA wise, nor is it designed for current loading, vehicular loading criteria. So the last thing we want to do with this aged bridge that's been struck multiple times is go throw dead load on it or change it so drastically that ITD has to do a complete structural analysis and get really, really concerned about this. So, Laura she's like, they're already walking on asphalt. We don't, we're not, I don't even know that we need to throw dirt on there. And I couldn't agree more. And I was really relieved to hear that. And so we alleviated that whole step. That's it, because putting fence up there isn't much of a load. And anything else that we were going to do was going to be pretty minimal change. And that keeps them more engaged and less concerned in the long run regarding allowing us to do it. And it made them much more amenable to it. As long as they didn't have to spend any dollars maintaining it,
Great.
and we didn't alter it drastically, they were fine with us continuing to propose it, to get them the information that they wanted to evaluate a full proposal on what we had planned.
Yep.
So had the elk had they been using it previously, or
No.
'cause it was open to them, right?
It was
Like
open,
animals
so
could use it.
Right. So they would hang out on the edge of it, and then they would go down the hill and cross the interstate. So they did not actually cross on the bridge itself, but they hung out in the same substrate, this like old asphalt, regularly.
Okay.
Deer, we did document crossing it before we fenced it, so they were using it from time to time.
Okay. On the ITD piece, were they pretty excited about it? Like, this is not their normal lane, right? Like,
Excitement? No.
No,
I would
they
not,
weren't.
like,
They didn't-
That's not the jam I got from.
No.
I guess I'm an eternal optimist.
Yes. No. But they weren't mad about it, which is huge.
They
The
were
fact that they were just like.
they see the integrity of
we'd
it?
like to hear more. Well, sure. I mean, sure, because in this country, as of like a few years ago, we spend like $8 billion hitting animals and doing nothing about it. Like that's the money
That's a rough
spent.
number, 8 billion.
It is. That's a rough number based on like literally doing nothing on our roadways and just hitting animals.
Car damage, insurance,
Yes,
yeah.
all of those
hospital
things.
bills. Yeah.
Absolutely. Which is what really has promoted the move in this direction. It is really, so any DOT, if they can mitigate that, if they can get out in front of that and take away casualty, especially human casualty, they're gonna look in that direction. And this definitely was a place that had continued
And it was
strikes.
fairly ready-made. Like,
It was turnkey.
you're not building a whole structure and taking years to,
Yeah.
like, it's pretty simple, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And
Air quote simple.
well, and I think even more exciting. So our first idea was to fence from this overpass to the Osburn interchange, the on-off ramps, and to this bridge that goes over the river, the South Fork of the Coeur d'Alene River. And when we got to looking at the bridge, there's two bridges, the eastbound and westbound lanes, and it is this nice, tall, wide structure. And it was like, wait a minute, we could have two crossing structures in one. And so now we have an overpass structure and we have a ready-made underpass that is similar almost to what you would build. There's a short period of time in the spring when the water goes all the way across, but I've seen deer moving through, even standing in the water, not a problem. So we decided to continue fencing it all the way to the Silverton on-off ramp. So it was an extra half a mile of fencing. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Kirsten, so as a resident of Osburn, like obviously you have your ear to what the community is in favor of and not in favor of. I mean, something like a 50-year-old bridge might get a lot of kind of nostalgia from a community, and they may not want some agency coming in and messing with it at all. They might just want it to stick around as is. Did you feel like the community had the support for this project from the get-go?
Yeah, for the most part. We have a Facebook page. I created a Facebook page just because during this time where elk were getting struck more than anything, it was just in the interest of letting people know when they were in the vicinity on that corridor. And during the time that we were ramping this up and we were putting in information to ITD to hopefully find a solution here that they could agree with and be okay with, I put out a survey, like just Survey Monkey, something real simple, and just to see what the Valley thought about it. And there was an overwhelming positive vibe, but a lot of it came with, we need one of these here and here too, and it came with, we need one here and we also need one here. And
Just becomes the Osburn Tunnel.
well, they were just like, yeah, that's fine there, but we need one here and here because there's a lot of accidents here. And so it was more of like a launch pad for a wish list. And then there was obviously the usual skeptics who often are the people who say, why do we put Animal Crossing signs? Like the animals know how to read signs, like they know they're supposed to cross there. And then we have to explain, no, we put them there because they're already crossing there to tell you that, And so there's always going to be skeptics who are like, they don't
Is
get
skeptics the right word or just idiot?
Thank you. There it is.
There you go. Tomato, or just maybe, I don't know. Some of it's willful ignorance, I'm sure. But
It sounds like TJ needs to do a better job at communicating.
Yeah.
Clearly.
These signs are not for
I'm
the
failing.
animals.
I can't. I mean, I get it every time, at least once a year. That somebody says that, or
Billboard campaigns.
these signs
These are
or
for
this is a
you.
waste of taxpayer money because you can't tell animals where to cross. I'm like, actually, you put these where they're crossing, so you don't have to tell them. Well, never mind. It's not
I do have quite a few people who, even since we've done the project, who are like, well, how do they know to use it now? And so it's like, oh, well, yeah, that's the fencing. The fencing is really key to this whole thing. So
Yeah.
yes, without the fencing, they are not going to be.
Why don't you
Right.
explain the fencing? Because I didn't realize prior to this project how important the fencing actually is.
Oh, yeah,
So maybe
that's
walk
key.
us through
It
that.
is
Yeah.
most important.
Yeah, the fencing is the most important part. So we're installing 8-foot funnel. We call it funnel fencing because it's basically funneling wildlife to where we want them to go. So the longer you make that, the further they may have to walk, but you're keeping them off a roadway for a longer distance. So this is a 2.5 mile stretch of Interstate 90 that is fenced.
Wow.
So they cannot hop this fence, and so they're just going to walk along it until they find a spot, either the bridge going over or the underpass where they can go under and get to the other side.
So does the funneling kind of, as it implies, it's funneling, it's at an angle, so it's funneling them towards the overpass?
It's just along. It's just
right of way.
along the right of way, so it's
Oh, okay.
parallel with the road.
And then it ties in to the bridge.
Yep.
So they'd have to
so they could hit it and go, I'm going to go left instead of right.
Yep. They
What
could.
happens then?
So, well, that there's never a good spot to end a fence. So,
Yeah.
you want to just keep fencing, but you're going to have side roads and whatever else. So,
Yep.
you can't have animals go around the fence and get in between the two funnel fences. So they're now in the roadway section. We installed one-way gates to help animals if they were to get into the roadway area. If they were to hit this one-way gate, it has these pieces of metal that move interchangeably. So they just have to push on these metal pieces and they can get out. It seems like this works really well, particularly for white-tailed deer, which is our most common species that is using this area. Elk have been known to use them, and we haven't seen that yet on this project.
I think I saw some of those on the freeways in Alaska. They have the moose fence, and they have those. They look almost like not like a vertical cattle guard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like-
they're articulating.
Yeah,
Reverse spike strips?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just push through them,
Yeah.
and then it just comes back down.
Like a turnstile you go through at a concert. But for deer.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't go backwards through 'em.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
What other sorts of components go into like deciding where to put it? Not the overpass, but like all the fencing and things like that.
She had to walk all of it.
How many
I was
times
invited
did you
to
walk?
do it.
I've walked it lots of times now. Yeah. Very familiar.
She has to
lots
walk
of
all of it
steps.
to find out where you can terminate it if you can. Otherwise,
Yeah, exactly. We tried to leave the fencing, the funnel fence, exactly where the old ITD right-of-way fence was, and there were some areas where they didn't have any fencing, and so then you're just trying to, not put it straight through a whole block of trees or whatever. But for the most part, it was just right along the ITD right-of-way.
Okay.
And so RMEF was pretty involved. I remember there was a volunteer day, like pulling out, because there's a ton of old fence, right? Like pulling out all of the old right-of-way fence, putting in the new fence.
We were there. We were there on a Saturday, and took out the old fence in the section where the old fence really needed to be removed. I think you did use some of the old fence further up, right, and added to it.
Where there was chain link fence, which is quite sturdy, expensive fence, we did an extension on it to make it a bit taller. But yeah, where it was just woven wire, we took it out.
Yeah, yeah. So we spent a day, and I don't remember. We probably had 30, 40 people, volunteers. And that wasn't all RMEF volunteers. There was local community people. One thing about, with my time with the Elk Foundation, anytime we can do a volunteer project, our volunteers that help put on banquets, they love doing that and help raising funds. But if you can get them out on the ground, you've got them forever. You know, they the hands-on work. I mean, if we extend fence, please call the RMEF. We want to give our volunteers an opportunity.
Well, you're seeing the proof in the pudding too, and every time they're cruising down the I-90, they're being like, "Yeah, I did that. I helped with that." That's a cool feeling.
Yeah,
Saving
buy-in.
lives. That's a big emotion.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
both elk and people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sweat equity and buy-in, and it's an investment on the long con, which is more, crossings and more funnel fencing, just to keep that corridors tough all the way through. There's so many spots where it's terrifying. I mean, it has been since I was young, driving through there.
And you're doing this on both sides, right? So is the mining company still in control of the property on the other side then?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So did you have to get a lot of cooperation from the mining company to go over and?
Yeah, we sent Carl, and they were like, "Yeah, here's a letter.
Really?
Here's a letter."
Yeah.
You know,
You're good.
he got letters from all the adjacent landowners, and they were included in the proposal to ITD and an appendix. You know, to let them know that, you know, in addition to the county commissioners, some of the mayors of the towns, and there was buy-in wholeheartedly, just simply because of it just makes sense, and people hit a lot of wildlife through there.
It sounds like it should have been named the Wilson Overpass.
Well, we're working on that. We'd like to dedicate that and either have a placard with some kind of, you know, reference to Carl, or if I had my way, I'd have letters on it across. But when you put stuff on the outside of the fence, you got, ITD gets concerned that something might fall off, and I don't blame them. So we'd have to figure that out. But it really should have some type of a dedication to him, and it should be publicly.
I gather from your tone that Carl's no longer with us.
No, he passed in 2022, December of 2022, tragically. He didn't get to see the end, this finish line.
Yeah.
Do you want
What he
to
started.
talk about?
No, I do. I do want to talk about it because this is, in my opinion, this story is about him solely. You know, the rest of us are supporting actors, but this is him. He just kept it going. He, from 2021 when I got involved, there was a lot. It didn't happen right away. I mean, we didn't get the grant. We didn't even work to get the grant money until 2024.
I think it was 2 or 3, but
Okay. Well, I mean, like, he just kept coming back and checking in with people, and he'd have a meeting, to see where everybody was at. And it kind of lagged for a while. And he and I would touch base now and again he would bring me up to speed on what he had done throughout his networking in the local and with ITD, continue to talk to them about stuff and Fish and Game and whoever else in the community. And then he would touch base with me, or we'd have a meeting and bring everybody up to speed. And in the spring of 2022, he asked me to grab coffee with him so we could get ourselves on the same page and maybe set some goals, because it kind of had languished a bit. And without him and myself pushing, it would have just continued to. And that meant that it really needed a full proposal to go into ITD. It needed to go down to the mothership in Boise. They needed to see what we were talking about. They needed to get a very clear view of what this was supposed to be and the whys. And that involved putting together a proposal, getting Laura and Norm their feedback on their very important part of it, and so I met with him, I think in late February, maybe early March, and we sat down for coffee, and he just told me what he'd been up to and gave me a few things that he had gathered, and I told him what my plan was. I said I plan to have a proposal together by November, because I have a job and I'm a mom and I'm a coach, and I have a lot of things that are going on, and so while I do have a priority toward this, there's also fitting it in, and I said my goal is to have a full proposal in and on the desk of headquarters by November. That's my goal. And he said, okay, and he said, whatever I need to do in order to help with that. And I said, well, if you want to round up letters, mean, like letters of support are big. They're a big deal. And so we kind of made a list of the people that he needed to get letters from. He already knew most, he already had spoken to most of them and gotten verbal confirmation that they were in support. But I said, you got to get it in writing to send it to ITD so they know that everyone's in. And so he's like, I got it. And so at that point, he, I've told this story so many times, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to do it without getting a little emotional, but he just said, he asked me to promise him that if he didn't make it to the finish line, because he's at 80s, he said, if I don't make it to the finish line, I want you to promise me you're going to, see that it's done, carry it forward, see that it gets done. And I said, I didn't take it seriously. I just kind of laughed, and I was like, Carl, bureaucracy does take time, that's for sure. And I said, these, when you're dealing with this many agencies and especially a DOT, any DOT, things take a little bit more time. I said, but this one's expedited, man. There's already a structure there. I mean, this is the one that's going to be shorter than all the others I've probably done. And I said, you'll see it. I said, it'll take a while, but it's not going to take that long. And he didn't, that was not, I bounced right off him. And he just looked at me, and he just kind of reached across and he stuck his hand on my wrist and he said, no, I need you to give me your word. And it got real serious all of a sudden, and I looked at him and I was like, okay, you have it. I'll do it, whatever it takes, till it's done, whatever it takes. He said, thank you. And then we got jovial again, and I was like, all right, until the next time, when you want to meet again, and he was, and kind of joked about a few other things. And then I left, and I think we met at the site in June or July. I think we walked it with ITD, with the environmental guy for ITD at the time.
Yeah, Mike Hartz.
Yeah, Mike Hartz. And, we were making more progress. I was working on the proposal and everything, and the proposal went in November. I think it went to you a couple of times for some editing and for some review and input, and it went in November, and it was in, and got sent down to Boise, and then December 22nd, 5 a.m., I got a text from my sister, who also knew him really well. And I'm like, why is she texting me at 5 a.m., and which is never good, And I opened it up and it said, Carl passed away last night. And I sat up and I for a second, I didn't know where I was. I was like, what? And then I, called her. And she told me that he had a tragic accident and he was gone. And she said, I just didn't want you to wake up and see it on social media or anything like that. I wanted you to hear it from me. And I just was like, okay, I don't know what to do with any of this. I don't know how to process this right now. Thank you. Thank you for telling me. And that was that. And then, the outpouring began. Mm-hmm. And I had to send out the email to the group, including ITD, and I don't know if you already knew yet when I sent it out or not, and just let everybody know. And it was more like, if you're going to send anything to Carl or communicate with Carl, please send it to me because this is why. And it was really difficult to type it because it was real. Mm-hmm. And at that point, because the proposal was in and we were really in motion, it became almost like a blood oath at that time. And people were, if they were on the fence, so to speak, they weren't anymore. They were in, and it was, whatever it takes.
So it didn't halt progress at all. It sounded like it just kept moving full steam ahead.
Well, the heavy lift was...
Yeah, I think it gave us probably more motivation because...
To stay engaged.
Yes.
And not let it lag.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then just take more, make more commitments.
Yeah.
Yep. That's when we moved into, once we got the okay with ITD, that's when we moved into trying to get funding because that was the next step. But yeah, I would say it kind of spurred everybody to really work on it.
Did both of you know Carl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Both did.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was super enthusiastic. I mean, that's who he invited us to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. They were on the walk. We were all on the walks.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
they weren't there, like what's the point? You know, we all have to be there. We all have our job to do and our part in it. Yeah, it was a collective effort.
Well, I never met him, but I feel like you and I have talked before, Kirsten, and talked with you about him, and I feel like I know him. I wish I could have met him. He sounds like we need more Carls in this world.
I know we
Definitely.
do.
Yeah,
I know.
I think you said something at the fence removal day, something like Wayne. You said, as soon as you knew him, he was your best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was just
absolutely.
like the gravelly voice and the chuckle, you know,
Yeah.
and it just a great guy to be around.
Oh yeah. But when he joined the committee, he joined our committee and helped put on a couple of years of banquets.
Mm-hmm.
He was that guy that'd go out and we always need donations. He was going to mining companies
Mm-hmm.
and getting large
Yeah, he was.
four-figure checks. Yeah, which that committee just had never seen that before.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. He took that committee from 20,000 a year to 50,000 a year that they were raising. But it was this agreement we had. We'll help you get to the finish line. I mean, and all the work is over here on the other side of the table. These ladies have done all the work to get it there. The Elk Foundation was there to help the funding on it, but anyhow, he was the nicest guy. He'd call me up and go have coffee. Went to his house a couple times. Talk about this and that, but we were talking about getting this project done too.
So for all of you then, so first of all, thanks for sharing that backstory. That's obviously a really powerful story, and I agree with you that is like the crux of this whole project. So how did it feel then? Like, you've been building up to this for years. Carl had passed away. It was sounds like that was a little bit of a catalyst to even push it harder and further. So the project is done. You finish it. What are you feeling personally? What's the feeling in Osburn? What's going on?
It's bittersweet. It's pretty cool to people reach out to me all the time, via email or they'll text or through social media and say, I saw a moose wandering outside the fence today, and I'm like, did you take a picture? Or, I saw deer crossing over the top of it today. I'm like, did you take a picture? Because a lot of that stuff doesn't happen in the daytime.
Yeah.
Or it's real early in the morning. And there's, a lot of people who are, they're like, I haven't seen an animal, on the freeway and I don't know how long. And it's so people are noticing and they're thankful. I'm thankful for Carl because of it. I'm just glad that people are seeing less interaction. People are hopefully safer. And the animals are safer. For me, I'm an altruist. So this makes me happy all the way around. It's not just about my daughters. When I hit the deer, I felt terrible for the deer, I felt terrible for the deer. I think I realized later how dangerous it was for me. But in the onset, I was like,
The moment.
yeah, I was like, is it at least dead? It's not laying up there suffering. I felt terrible. But I think a lot of people just are thankful that they're not seeing carcasses, people they know aren't hitting them, through that area. And now their focus has moved elsewhere. They're like, can we please do this here? Can we please, we need that, they want to see more of it. So
How long has it been live?
It finished August, so full fencing was done last August. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's when you guys cut the ribbon, the ribbon cutting.
I didn't even know. I was like, are they done? Because every day I'd drive along, there'd be more and more fence, and then all of a sudden there were no, the construction yard was pretty much empty. And I was like, are they done? And Laura's like, they
Yes.
are. And I was like, yes.
It was
Awesome.
super satisfying. I would say I worked for Fish and Game for almost 20 years, and this is one of the more satisfying projects I've worked on because it's so concrete. Like I do a lot of other really cool things and very useful in research, but just to be able to see wildlife safely moving from one side to the other.
Super
like,
tangible.
Yeah, exactly. Which is cool.
So what did this project cost roughly, and compare that to, because I know there's the existing infrastructure that was already there. Compare that to what like a new build would have cost to like build a brand new wildlife overpass with the underpass or whatever.
Right. So this project cost us about
Some math ain't going
$650,000, and that was for fencing and the one-way gates.
Which sounds really reasonable.
To build a brand new structure, like say we had to build the bridge because it wasn't there, you're adding on another.
Kirsten's got her calculator
I
out,
know.
folks. For those listening.
Like 2 million, roughly. I mean, maybe for that size bridge itself.
Is how much?
2 million, maybe more. It depends on what they would do there as far as that bridge is concerned.
And tack on years too, more years.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And let's be clear, this bridge is temporary. Like it is in the next 10 years. There's a good likelihood that a large enough project will happen along that corridor that they will be able to fold in the demolition of that bridge. It does not provide the FHWA clearance diagram that today's traffic requires, and that's why it's been struck. And then things that come through there that are oversized have to go around.
What's the clearance on it?
I haven't. I
It
don't.
doesn't
know.
sound like even.
I think it's the shortest bridge on I-90 in Idaho.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So cousin Eddie's RV can barely.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right? So,
Yeah. And we knew that going in, and ITD was very clear. Like this was not a
Yes.
surprise. It was like, you can do this project, but we're going to take it out.
and I said I'll take 10 years of safety and proven results
Yep.
and documented results
Yep.
over.
It's all the pictures.
Yeah.
So we have cameras up on the bridge documenting use, but the nice thing is we also have an underpass. So if we decide that this bridge is getting enough use that we want to replace it, they have a place to go in the meantime, or we might decide that maybe the underpass is getting most of the use and a new bridge is not required. But we have options.
Yep.
Are they kind of comparable in size? In terms of like width?
Yeah, I mean the underpass is probably bigger because it's like
Because it's trapezoid.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're talking about
I'm thinking
this
like a culvert tunnel or
versus-
something.
Oh no, this is like open bridge. Yes.
Yeah. No, it's a layback with the river.
Yeah.
Got the laybacks.
Lots of sunlight. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Ambient light coming through. They love that. And then,
Yeah.
because it has to be for a lot of them. They don't like going in dark tunnels.
Right.
They're not prey animals, or they're prey animals. They're not predators. So that up and over is the goal for them. Like they want to go
Yeah.
and see, right?
Okay.
I know that thing's eventually going to come down, but there has already been discussion in communication between ITD and myself and various others that has suggested they might grant fund something else when it does, and maybe fold that into the construction as well.
That ITD would?
They did mention the generating grant money for its replacement potentially.
So this concept has been proved all over the country, but it's being proved. You're almost able to use this scientifically here because you had everything. So you're able to say like, yeah, it's working. Was there anything unique or different that you got to do because it was already up and different? Or were you limited because of that?
I mean, I think it was much faster because it was already there.
Sure.
And I think the best part about that is that it's kind of opening eyes in terms of like, can we use existing infrastructure for these types of projects? Perhaps we do not have to build a whole overpass or a whole underpass. We can use there's other places along I-90 or Highway 95 where you have bridges that go over, or the river that are nice and wide. Couldn't we use culverts where in a project that maybe they just need to make the culvert a little bit bigger and be able to have that passage? And the most important thing is just adding that fencing.
Yeah.
So I think thinking about, can we use things that are already built and do things in a faster manner than you would on one of these start from scratch projects.
There's also kind of a campaign for, in the past, if you're trying to do a bridge, you're looking at in the past, the thought process has been, what's the elevation difference between, say, your invert of your stream or something to your finished grade. And so if you've got this much and you put a span bridge in there, you've got this much, and then you've got layback, which makes it a really long structure. And the paradigm shift of thought process here is now, what are you trying to convey through here? And can you fill the rest of this up with backfill, right? And so now there's a lot of what I end up doing is taking that same elevation difference and alleviating the need for this big superstructure and the price associated with it and the time spent constructing it to accommodating whether it's, a lot of these are now going into joint use. So waterway and then some extra bank for wildlife. And so then you just have this
Archway.
structure that allows for both. And it's big enough that it allows ambient light in so that they're not feeling like they're being funneled into, a meat eater. Right? and then over the top of it is backfill. So you're basically dealing with dirt versus bridge decks and approach
Structure,
slabs and things that get worn down and are incredibly inconvenient and incredibly expensive to rehab and fix every single year. And now you're just dealing with a roadway section on dirt, and you're still conveying this thing the way that you need to, but you have less superstructure, less construction, less, overall maintenance, and you're accommodating what naturally goes through there, whether it's aquatic and wildlife. You can accommodate both hydraulic, abilities. So that's been one of the shifts in my realm, that it's just the way they're looking at these things.
We were talking on the way up here. There's that, you said superstructure, that huge one in California that was, I think it's just been completed.
Yeah.
Like massive.
Yeah.
It's taken 5 to 6 years to complete, if not more.
It took me longer to get through. So I grew up here, and I went down there for almost 9 years. That's where I started my civil engineering path, and that's where I started doing wildlife conveyance down there. And I started to get more and more states under my belt as for my job. And I was down there when that thing was being planned. We looked at it from our standpoint, but the massiveness of that roadway underneath was so great that it was larger than anything we did. It had to be a one-off, very, very in-depth structure that was a unique design. Because of the right of way it had to get across. It was so massive. And so
12 lanes.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
that's-
are you serious?
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah, and you can't set down very often in between those, those 6 lanes of traffic. So that's a massive structure that has to span that. And then, it carries that dead load from all that cover over it. So that seems like a natural habitat, right? But yeah, it took a long time. I mean, I was at ASCE meetings, like Society of Civil Engineer meetings, when that thing was in the planning stages, when it was just rendered pictures. And I couldn't help but think, yeah, well, that'll take forever to get permitting, DOT funding, the naysayers,
California.
I mean, you get a lot of people who are like, let's do the thing, but also you get a lot of red tape and a lot of,
California.
well, yeah. yeah, all of that. So, but when it finally went, it was pretty exciting because it took a long time. Just it made its way through, and it took a while.
Well, TJ, the other thing that I'm thinking as we've been talking through all of this is just how important it is to have partners for Idaho Fish and Game.
Yeah.
That a lot of the work that we do, we insulate it and we celebrate ourselves and whatnot. And we haven't talked a lot about our volunteers or our other partners, but just hearing these stories about how a community came together, how community members then were tagged, and then somebody in that community also went out and was like, hey, we want to get this done. Let's do it. Like, it's imperative to me that people hear this, that it's okay to go to Fish and Game when you have an idea. It's okay to go to ITD. Like, no idea is too small or know, whatever, all the things you could say about that, but
Yeah, we don't operate in a silo.
No.
We need our partners to be able to really get any of these cool projects done for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. And we had some other partners, like we talked about RMEF and the community, but we also had Yellowstone to Yukon Conservation Initiative who help provide funding, but also help with just project planning and designing part of the fencing and that sort of thing. So
Very enthusiastic.
yes.
Fantastic. It's just nice to have people raise their hand and say, we'd love to help you with this.
Yep. And we had local businesses who helped purchase supplies and keep it on site right at their business. So yeah, it was awesome. I can't imagine trying to do this by myself at all. It was still a load of work, but it was a lot more fun with everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have some like good drone footage or anything of the project out there right now? We do?
Sure do.
They'll be in the show notes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. TJ did
We'll
some
put a link
awesome.
to
Did
it.
you not read the press release?
The people listening, TJ.
Hey, do
Yeah,
we
I
want to?
believe-
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Laura.
I was going to say, do we want to talk about what's using these structures?
Yeah, I was
didn't
gonna-
ask.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one question before that,
And then
because
I
that was
wanna
going to
ask
be
you
my
a
next
second.
question. So I know this question, people are going to be thinking of this as they're listening to it. You said $650,000. Where did that funding come from? Is that like sportsman dollars? Like, break it down.
Sure. So the biggest chunk was from National Fish and Wildlife Foundation grants. So we had 2 grants that was the bulk of that. RMEF provided funding. Yellowstone to Yukon Conservation Initiative provided funding. And then there was some Idaho Fish and Game sportsman dollars as well.
Okay.
So it was quite a pot of money that
But
What is
let's not downplay the lift of that grant. The grant. I mean, we found out about it how long before it was? It probably been the grant was open. Probably, I don't know. Was it like a month before we ever found out about it? And then we had like 2 weeks.
it's a very short amount of
geez.
time.
Like 60 pages long.
It was a lot.
She did I would say 70%, if not more of that heavy lift. I mean, you really did.
It was a lot. And it was a grant that is given to state agencies or tribes. So Osburn City couldn't put in for the grant. So Fish and Game took on that.
Was it like cramming for a thesis paper?
It did feel a bit like that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Drinking a lot of coffee
Yeah.
that week.
I was like, there were things I misunderstood. I'm like, I think I need all this information. And the folks were like, do you really need that information? I'm like, I think so.
Yeah, I just said, just send me what you need from me, and I'll just do that. Then she'd just reach out and be like, I need this, this, and this, and be like, okay, I can do that, that, and that. But the overall was.
I mean, I'm still
her.
still doing it. So there's still
Yeah.
like we're on the backside of it, right? It's funded, and so
Now you have to
all the
prove
final
it.
the final reports and everything. Like, hey, can you actually edit this part of it and upload it again? Can you actually delete the one file that you upload? I'm like, all right.
There, it's a big one when they have their own. It's a legal sub consultant or process. Like what was there was an entity who just managed
The grant. Yes.
Yes.
I
Once
have
we
my
got
grant
it.
person. Yes.
Yeah, they were assigned it.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, because I can't even imagine
Yeah.
trying to traverse that thing. I mean, it was hard enough to get the money, and then once you had the money, like the stuff you had to do to.
I
be
learned a
allowed-
lot. I'll be able to do it much better.
I'd
much
love to
faster.
see your guys' Rolodex.
Yeah.
Man.
Real.
But Ben, to get back to what you were saying, I think that idea of like there's no idea that is too small to come to Fish and Game with. Like Carl's an example of that, right? Like he paved the way. Like if not for Carl, I don't know if we'd be sitting here.
Right.
Right. And so that's one individual that had an idea
Yep.
and pursued it in a helpful way. And so we have people in this office, like we're all strapped for time and funds and different things. And if there is somebody that is passionate about something, like speaking for myself, I work with a lot of volunteers. And if I've got somebody that has an idea and has the drive and desire to like see it come to life, I'll jump on board with that every single day. What I don't want is somebody who has an idea and then wants to run the other direction. But when somebody's motivated like that, we'll partner with that all day long.
It also sounds like this was super dreamy and everything came together, like almost like there needs to be a little documentary about this whole thing. That
TJ's working on it.
yeah, I know. It'll be
like
out in
that
the fall of
exists.
2029.
Right.
The thing I want to underscore about what you just said too, though, is Carl came to this with an idea that benefited a lot of people and a lot and species as well. But it wasn't just here's an idea of something that will make my life better.
Right.
For fishing or hunting or whatever. It was
It was big picture.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah. And he was passionate about it.
And he knew what he didn't know. That was huge. Like he knew when he needed to engage people. And the first meeting, you were at the next one, but the first meeting, the thing that I noted when I walked in there, thinking it was just going to be a bunch of locals, was all the right people were in the room, but they didn't know what to do with it. And I didn't expect Carl to. He'd done all the hard work, but just getting them there. And so I ended up talking a lot more than I intended at that meeting because I've done enough of these to know that this is the order of operations if you want to see this move forward. And to have the agencies there, and ITD and, you guys, and then the commissioners, EMS people who are going to be out there in the right of way, taking carcasses out, to have those people sitting in there and be able to, as I started to speak about in the past, the ones that we've done, this is what we've needed, this is what's already done because it's already sitting there, but now this, and this, and I would imagine, and then I'd say, I would imagine this has to be done. Is that right, ITD? And they're sitting right there and they're like,
Yeah.
Yes, if you want, and so there was, the beautiful thing about it is that I could get feedback from them right away on if we were on the right path. And so that made it that much more streamlined at that first meeting. And then we all knew each other. So when you send an email to people you've sat in a room with, you're not just sending it into the void and they're like, I don't have to talk to you, which happens with agencies a lot.
How many people
You
are
don't
in Osburn?
How many people?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, maybe 1,200. I don't.
So
Maybe.
this is also, to me, ridiculously serendipitous that you're in this town.
Right.
Yeah.
That this is what your professional experience has been, and that you're able to help lead this through as well.
Well, had I been anywhere in the valley, even if I was over, I lived in Post Falls. When I came back to the area, I lived in Post Falls for like 6 years. And even if I'd have been over there, I still would have got the call from my cousin.
Sure.
And I still would have come over the hill to do it because...
Yeah, it was great. It was great to have her experience, especially I know how it is to work with transportation departments. I mean, I haven't worked with transportation departments before, so having that knowledge and what expectations to have was great.
Yep. And ITD is exactly who they say they are, and you know exactly what to expect. And that's one thing that I've always appreciated about them because I've worked with a lot of agencies throughout the course of my time, and they are straightforward.
Yeah.
For every agency has its quirks, but they are
Fish and Game
straightforward.
does not have its quirks.
No quirks at all.
Don't operate in a silo, no quirks.
Good to know.
Just so you know. Laura. Yes, I want to hear about what we, I say we, I did something. I'll say what you all have learned with the cameras, what's working, what's not working.
Yeah. So I think what was interesting was that we saw whitetail deer using the underpass structure immediately. And we recorded about 150 whitetail deer crossings of that underpass in the first 6 months.
Wow.
And they was just maybe they were already using that regularly. I don't know, but they're not on the road anymore. So that's fantastic. We had whitetail deer were the first animals across the overpass once the fencing was up. And that was in November and it was all bucks. So looking for the ladies.
For the lady.
Yep.
Motivated.
Yep. We had to encourage the elk a little bit. So they were hanging out on the south side of the bridge like they like to. And so we were adding alfalfa every few weeks to because they were near the bridge, but they weren't really crossing it. So
Which had always been the case.
yes, that's what they did.
When we first started this, you go up on the approach structure from the city of Osburn, and you would see sign, and then you would see the game trail that they just dive off.
Yeah.
They didn't want to go any further.
So bizarre.
It is. It's real. And I understand the whirring of the cars in most instances, in most of the structures that we've done. Like Snoqualmie, and then the ones down in Elko. I've done quite a few down there, and Wyoming and whatnot. They're pushed out 200 feet. And then often there's berms or there's 6 foot tall walls that prevent that sight line and also the sound of it. And that encourages them. They don't get so spooked. But here it's dead on.
It's open.
Right.
So we have a chain link fence on the bridge, so they can see the cars just fine. They can hear it. And what's interesting is when we first documented the elk crossing in January of this year, we've got video, and they don't seem bothered by the vehicles going under.
No.
So I don't know why they wouldn't go across before, because they seemed quite content eating the alfalfa and crossing just fine. So
Although after that moose incident in Wallace, I'm glad they weren't going over before, because had they gotten spooked,
that's true.
you know, you don't want them jumping into the right of way, because that obviously happens.
Yeah.
Laura, can you talk about kind of the biological behavior reasons for what they're doing, why they're crossing there? Is it like, for instance, like the Highway 21 bridge, it's,
A migration route.
yeah, they're coming down to a winter range and it's predictable, right? They're not just hopping over when they feel like it. It's seasonal. They're crossing here. And
Written
then again,
into their DNA
Yeah.
at some level.
And that's a great
Yeah.
question. So we differ quite a lot from southern Idaho. Here in northern Idaho, most of our deer and elk do not have major migrations, if any. So they kind of have home ranges for the most part, especially in the Coeur d'Alene Mountains. And they're moving somewhat seasonally. So these elk tend to be down in the wintertime more than they are in the summer. And I think it's just kind of part of their range during that time of year. White-tailed deer are spending most of their time there too. It's just that's where they live. They're moving back and forth. Maybe there's better forage on the south-facing slopes at times or north-facing, but they don't have these actual major direct migration routes, which makes it trickier as to, like she was saying, everyone in the valley wants these all over the place because we don't have just a spot where they're crossing. They are crossing everywhere.
okay.
So it makes it harder.
It does, because you need to have them everywhere.
Funnel fence,
Yeah.
right? That's the beauty of funnel fence. They can stop crossing everywhere, and you can just send them to a certain spot.
But we don't have the same kind of hot spots that they
Right.
have other
Right.
places.
And they're just kind of on there, but they seem like they're always kind of buzzing in that area throughout the year, right?
Right. I mean, like the elk are down mostly in the winter, but other species are going to be there.
What other kind of species have you seen crossed?
That is all we have so far. I had a coyote come to kind of take a peek at it and decided not to cross, but I haven't seen
cat.
anything else.
House cat did.
The house cat.
Did you get a picture?
Lots of humans, right?
Some humans, some people do go over and they did before too. They went over the overpass.
Teenagers.
Not so many on the underpass though. And maybe that's why the deer like the underpass. Like there's not a lot of human use there. But.
So do you think the elk will like figure it out? Like, will they get more used to it? And are we going to keep putting alfalfa out to encourage that behavior, or?
I think that they'll figure it out. Yeah.
Okay. Like, how many have crossed at this point? Do we have a rough count?
I think it's under 20.
Okay.
Yeah, crossings so far.
Do
So
you know how big that, like, the herd is, the local herd?
what do you think?
It varies. Sometimes there's 20 of them. Sometimes there's like 7. I don't know
Okay.
how they come together and split apart. I don't fully understand that behavior in elk, but sometimes there's a whole lot of them, and then all of a sudden you'll see 2 or 3 or 7. And you're like, where's the rest of you?
I know I've heard 30 to 40 at times. So, wow. I mean, I have seen them going along the funnel fence a number of times. So like they're being kept off the roadway at those times. So.
I'm thinking about what's the cost per crossing.
Oh, right.
Well,
gonna start
that
charging a
depends
toll.
We don't
on
ask those
crossing,
questions.
right?
You're going to stick a little
Over
bit.
the
It's not a toll.
I'm kidding.
So the Snoqualmie one, the overpass. Now that area is really successful because it has, like she explained earlier, over and under, because different things take different routes. But that first phase of it and if you've been through there, you've seen the big arches on. That's what I do. That's my company worked on.
And you said the Elko ones too, and there's a lot of familiarity heading to Elko.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's all pronghorn.
Yep.
So then, man, those things are fast. But anyway,
How do they handle the fences?
Yeah, because we've heard they don't like fences.
well,
They don't
the
jump 'em.
funnel just sends them.
They don't go underneath them.
Oh,
Right.
So they should
just
be
freak
pretty
out
good.
and
Freak out.
stare at
They
them.
just
Yeah.
run. It didn't take them long. I mean, they moved fast over those things. It did within a year or two. It was like 10,000 crossings because they do have
Whoa.
huge migration.
Oh,
They have
wow.
huge
Wow.
migration.
That's
that comes
remarkable.
Have fun editing that time lapse footage.
Yeah, right.
out. Some of the schematics that were done by Fish and Game out there, Game and Fish, whatever, I can't remember what they're called,
Game and
but
fish.
those things are amazing. Just the migration patterns of those and the massive amounts of them. I came into those projects way downstream of that. That's after they've decided where they are. And then I come in and, help with preliminary design with the DOTs and decide what they want to do. And then they put that stuff out to bid and we chase it. But, the tremendous amount of information that was gathered there to determine those places that's the investment, the front-loading investment that makes them successful. That's why they are successful. And they had, I don't know, I did 6 or 7 down there through that corridor, and they've had tremendous success.
So do you envision, from a Fish and Game standpoint, do you envision more of those popping up north?
I would
now
love
that
to.
the
Yeah.
concept has been not that you had to prove the concept, like you've made a career out of this. The concept is proven.
Yes, but ITD, Idaho
But to
hasn't-
see it, right?
hasn't chased it though.
Sometimes you have to see it working
Yeah.
for people to go, oh yeah, of course.
You do. And
Yeah.
and Cervidae Peak is the first
Yeah.
overpass in Idaho. The rest of them, they just kind of used box culverts, and they don't have a tremendous amount of success, overall. And so that Cervidae Peak was the first one. And it was an FHWA design over there right away. And that's how it ended up there. And it's immediately shown success. And I think that it's really gone a long ways to shift ITD's view of these types of crossings.
So, were you pretty excited to see the legislative attention then?
Well-
Did you keep up with that this session? I don't know if it was a joint resolution or concurrent, but in support of.
Do you have a little backstory on that
Yeah.
for myself?
I don't know
folks
all the
listening?
detail except that there was it's either a joint resolution or concurrent resolution in the legislature during this session where they essentially voiced support for wildlife crossings in Idaho, which hadn't happened before, and so that's
No, I didn't even know about that. I'm stretched across so many states that, like, for me to follow this, I don't. I just wait till it comes to my doorstep and I'm asked to consult on crossings. Like, these places need this. What can we put here? The guiding variables that we're trying to deal with, and then I usually engage at that point and give options, if there are options that fit within what my company does. But the fact that they're doing that is long overdue, and usually it's like late to the party. This is happening in every state around this state, and this state has a tremendous amount of this activity, more so than some of the other states that are doing this, and we're last to the table in the surrounding areas, but we're at the table now, so I can only complain so much. I'm glad to hear that.
yeah. So I assume we'll be continued running cameras and collecting data for
Yep.
years to come until
Yep.
this thing comes down, because this is kind of, like you said, not proof of concept, but maybe a little bit up here.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be monitoring both structures and see how it goes. We have learned some things since we started. So we talked about the one-way gates earlier, and we put those in because whitetail deer are known to use those and not use jump outs, which are kind of like a ramp to a 6-foot tall wall so they can get out.
Get out if they're on the highway.
Right. If they're within the 2 fences on the highway, you want to get them out. We have had a couple elk come up the off or on ramp, walk up the cement and get in between the fences this last year. And they seem not to be as keyed in on how to use the one-way gates. So we're going to do some modifications to the one-way gates, but we'd also like to have like a second phase and add some jump outs to hopefully help them get out when they get in between the fences.
Just put a lift gate on the on and off ramps, just like we have here at the office.
Oh, yeah. That's
Perfect.
right.
Press the button, comes up, you drive through.
Well, you can do double cattle guards, which is another option. It's just...
If they're not smart enough to use it, they're not going to be smart enough to press a button.
You have to push the button.
The people push the button.
Not the elk?
No.
Now
The elk
I'm in.
just,
No,
the elk
I'm
just
not
queue
talking
there.
about the elk. Come on.
The elk just queue there until a human comes along.
Like
Yeah.
AI.
You
Let
just
me
see it
in
on
there.
a video. Retinal scan, something.
Yeah, exactly.
What if you guys use like locks, like with freighter ships? Like once there's enough mass weight on the lock, it lifts up and goes over the overpass.
Ooh, there's some
invent that.
options here.
Look at that.
Just throwing that out there.
Hey,
That's what I was getting at.
no bad idea, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Not that.
More expensive, maybe.
engineers or civil engineers and English majors don't go to.
You can try, though.
We can dream, but we can't fulfill. Well, is there anything you guys want to say before we wrap this puppy up? Anything we forgot to ask you?
The only thing I would add is I think Fish and Game is probably working on a YouTube video or something. Elk Foundation just released one. I don't know if you guys got to watch it.
No. Can we plug it though? Is it out?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah. It's called The Bridge to Nowhere.
All right. We'll put a link to that in our show notes.
Yeah.
It's
Get your Kleenex out.
It's
Yeah.
emotional.
Oh.
Yeah, all of us. I've watched it 4 times and I cry every time I watch
All right.
it, just because of our close connection to Carl. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
They did a wonderful job with it.
They did.
Yeah.
Is that on RMEF's YouTube channel or
Yeah,
is it
it'll be
hosted
on their
somewhere else?
YouTube channel. If you go to
All right.
rmef.org, go to their videos. It's, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
TJ, are you working on anything in regard to this project too, or is it kind of?
No, we put the press release out, put the video out, and then we've done like a Facebook reel of some of the camera footage.
Cool.
I'm sure we'll put more out as we get more camera footage and kind of
Yeah.
close the loop again in another couple of years. But I don't know. I'm just sitting here like looking at all of you. As I say that, I'm pointing to the major players here, and I just think it's cool to know that there are people working on things like this in Idaho, right? Like for the everyday Idahoan, just knowing that this kind of stuff is happening is really meaningful. And like I'm a beneficiary of that, and everybody is. So I just personally want to thank you guys for the time and energy that was put into this. And if Carl was here, I would thank him as well. But I just feeling very appreciative right now because it's pretty dang cool.
Thanks,
Yeah.
TJ.
These things
It
don't
is
just happen
cool.
on their own.
No.
It is cool. I'm happy to be part of it with everybody.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's weird being an adult now. I used to look up
Just
and
now?
be like somebody's going to figure this out. And I'd be like, wait a minute,
That's
we're
you.
the adults who have to figure this out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you feel like an adult. I still don't. My 4 kids are fooled. They think I'm like got it all figured out.
You're the 5th kid.
Oh yeah,
That's what your wife thinks.
for sure.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Wayne and Kristen, I mean, we just met you guys and it's just like mind blowing how much you have already done for this agency and how much you've done for the Silver Valley up here.
On to the next project.
Yeah,
right?
ever forward.
Yeah.
Ever forward.
Well, folks, this has been fun.
It's a wrap.
Thanks
Yeah.
for having us.
Thanks for traveling all this way.
Thank you to you four. I mean, and TJ, thanks for setting this up. Kirsten, thanks for coming up here. Wayne, you did great, man.
You're natural.
Yeah.
Piece of cake.
We'll see you on the next
afraid
one.
of it.
And Laura, we're going to have to come up and do more projects with you. You're a lot of fun, and I enjoy learning a ton from you.
It was great.
Are you presenting at the commission meeting this week?
No, but I am taking them on a little tour. We're going to talk about some forestry stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
You taking them to the Overpass?
I don't think we are, but maybe
Come
next time.
on.
Next
Yeah.
time.
Take a little detour.
I know, for sure.
Yeah.
Beautiful drive.
Well, folks, thanks for listening to Shootin the Bull, and we'll put that video in our show notes. What was it called again, Wayne?
It's called The Bridge to Nowhere.
Bridge to Nowhere. All right. Cool. Well, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.